Welcome to the December 5th, 2023 meeting of the Fitchburg City Council. I now call this meeting to order. Please be advised that FATV is conducting audio and video recording of this meeting for public broadcast. I ask that anyone else in the audience who is recording this meeting to please identify themselves for the record now by standing and stating their name and city of residence. Seeing none, I ask at this time that all electronic devices be placed into silent mode. Councillor Green, would you please lead us in the salute to the flag?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councillor Green?
Here.
Councillor Schultz?
Here.
Councillor Squire?
Present.
Councillor Van Hazinga?
Here.
President Zarella?
Here.
Councillor Boschman?
Present.
Councillor Kuchar?
Here.
Councillor Cragen?
Here.
Councillor Cruz?
Here remotely.
Thank you. Councillor Di Natale? And Councillor Fleming.
Here.
We have 10 members present.
Thank you very much. We have no one remote for public forum this evening. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak may approach the center podium, identify yourself by name and city of residence, and the agenda item on which you wish to speak, and you may speak for not more than 2 minutes.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Good evening.
I'm going to adjust the podium to my height. I'm here today to speak briefly in support of the reappointment of Michael McLaughlin to the Zoning Board of Appeals. He currently serves as my vice chair and has served either, and I am Christine Tree, City of Residence, Fitchburg, Massachusetts, currently chair of the Fitchburg Zoning Board. Again, I'd like to speak briefly in support of his reappointment. He currently serves as my vice chair. He has served either as the chair or vice chair on this board for many years. I believe his total numbers of service are 24 years. We are currently down to 5 members. This is the minimum amount with which we can operate without being in danger of not being able to function as a board, so I would ask that his reappointment go forward immediately so that there is no gap. But beyond that, I would just say to you that his historic knowledge has been invaluable. I can remember one occasion where we were looking back for a copy of the zoning ordinance, I think from the 1980s or 90s, and he had it at home. As well as his experience with specific properties around the city. He has the ability to speak to petitioners and abutters alike with ease. When he goes and does his site visits, he makes sure that if the property owner or abutter is around, he tries to speak to them, he tries to understand their project, and he tries to work with them. He is highly invested in both the improvement and success of the city. If you have not yet been on a tour of the city with Mr. McLaughlin, I suggest you do so, because he will take you around and point out both the things that are working wonderfully and the things that we could work on. I do not always agree with Mr. McLaughlin. He and I have some fairly serious disagreements of opinion on the way that particular developments should proceed. But that is exactly why his input is valuable, because only with the presence of differing opinions can we reach the best result for the city. And he is always open to listening. So for those reasons, I would ask that you approve his reappointment. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, who turned the beeper on? All right, thank you very much. Further public comment at this time? Seeing none, we will proceed to our agenda. We have announcements this evening. The next meeting of the Widowed Helping Widowed Support Group will take place Thursday, December 14th from 4 until 5:30 p.m. in room 205 at Fitchburg State University Recreation Center, 130 North Street. Kelly Lynn and Bernie Schultz will co-facilitate. Ward 1 Councillor Bernie Schultz is hosting a Ward 1 community meeting on Monday, December 11th at 5 p.m. here in the Legislative Building, 700 Main Street. Superintendent of Schools John Thompson and School Human Resources Director Carrie Fabali will make presentations and then answer questions following their presentations. In addition to Fitchburg Ward 1 residents, all other Fitchburg residents are welcome to attend the meeting. The City of Fitchburg seeks residents who would be willing to shop for a child in Fitchburg in need of clothing and other items. There is a Christmas tree in the front hall of City Hall, and anyone may stop by the Parks and Rec Department and speak to Director James Bunnell and take an ornament off the tree so they can shop for a youth in grades 6 through 12. Unwrapped items may also be brought to City Hall during business hours, 8:30 to 4:30 p.m. Wrapping paper donations are also welcome, as these items will be wrapped by volunteers the week of December 18th. Please contact James Bunnell at 978-829-1815 for more information. Happy holidays to all. Snow is coming, and Ward 2 Councillor Paul Boschman and Councillor at Large Sally Cragen are initiating a pilot program for Ward 2. They are asking residents if they would be willing to host snow stakes on their property. These stakes, which I have examples of here, are bamboo which have been painted with fluorescent orange paint. The purpose is to alert plow drivers during storms where the corners and berms are, and we hope that this visibility will add up to fewer repairs of asphalt berms in the springtime when winter has concluded. These berm repairs are costly and take up much DPW resources, and we would like to see if consistent placement of snow stakes has an impact. We plan to evaluate the effect after the snow season is over. We would also like to urge all city residents to put out orange stakes at least 5 feet high because of snow drifts. If you would like to request these stakes, please contact Councillor Paul Boschman at 978-786-1735.
978-345-7010.
345-7010.
Yep.
Or Sally Cragen at 978-320-1335, or reach out to them via city email. And also, there is a crisis in our pet shelters. All area pet shelters have more pets than space, and residents are being informed that there are vouchers available to spay or neuter your cat or dog free from the Leominster Fitchburg Animal Control Officer. However, there is a 7-month waiting list. If you have a kitten and qualify as low income, reach out now so that you can have your cat fixed when slots are available. You can visit the Leominster Fitchburg ACO on Facebook. That's Leominster/Fitchburg space ACO, or call 978-956-4082 in Fitchburg, or 978-514-2381 in Leominster. Starting next year, January 18th, there will be a Ward 3 meeting every month on the 3rd Thursday of the month here in the Legislative Building. What time?
6 o'clock.
At 6 p.m. That concludes our announcements. Next, we have the report of the Appointments Committee. Councillor Kuchar.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We had the Appointments Committee meeting earlier this evening. We had one reappointment to the Zoning Board of Appeals, term to expire January 1st of 2029, Mr. Michael McLaughlin. He was approved unanimously. We had a second, was a new appointment to the Council of Aging, term to expire November 1st of 2026, Richard Doucette, but that application was withdrawn effective October 12th, 2023, and we did not take that up.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second to approve the report. If there is no objection, we'll take this under unanimous consent. And it is approved. We have one appointment letter from His Honor the Mayor. of Mr. Dante W. Suarez to the position of Chief Engineer and Fire Chief, effective immediately. That is referred to the Appointments Committee. Next up, we have the report of the Finance Committee, and Councilor Di Natale is not with us this evening, so I will read that off. If people want it read item by item, or if there's a particular item that you want. Otherwise, I will just note that everything was recommended for adoption. Councilor Squally.
Report of the Records Committee.
Records.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You just didn't want to
I completely forgot. But let's take the one that we just started first, and then we'll go back to that.
Motion to waive the reading.
Second.
All right, and if there's no objection, we'll waive the reading. And do I have a motion on the report of the Finance Committee?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Motion and second to accept the report of the Finance Committee. Any objections? It is unanimously approved. Report of the Committee on Records. Councilor Brochman.
I didn't think you wanted to hear from me tonight.
I apologize. I skipped that line by mistake.
I was all excited to give you the report. For the weekend in November 21st, 2023, 2 days before Thanksgiving, I find the records to be in perfect order.
Move to accept the report. Second.
Motion and second to accept the report of the Committee on Records. Seeing no objections, they are unanimously accepted. Next, we have the report of the Legislative Affairs Committee. That's me. We had, these ones I am going to have to read off because we did a few different things with a few different things. 09723, this was a petition to review a disclosure of a municipal employee pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 268A, Section 20A and B, or 20A sub B, to approve the same. That one was held. This was pursuant to an employee who has a minority stake in a construction company that contracts with the city. That was held for further information. We had 16123, Councilor Boschman's petition. Councilor?
Mr. President, I like to pull this before we vote on it, because I like to talk about it at full council.
16123.
Yes, I can pull that. I will note that the sentiment of the committee was that everything you're asking for is already covered under applicable law, but we didn't want to make a decision on the petition without you present.
Oh, yeah, it is.
So we voted to hold that.
All right.
21923 was Liz Murphy, Economic Director, to designate the FRA as special municipal employees pursuant to Chapter 268A, Section 20D. That was approved unanimously. Myself, Councilor Zarella, to accept Chapter 41, Section 19H as a local option. That was approved unanimously. That was 22023. 25323 was another disclosure. This one was of the chairman of the Water and Wastewater Commission, who happens to be a real estate broker who is the listing agent for 580 John Fitch Highway. The petition was amended, by the way, to strike the words Lunenburg Street. He happens to be the listing agent, and this is the parcel that the city is looking to acquire. That was unanimously approved on the grounds that this particular employee's sphere of influence in city government has zero overlap with the proposed acquisition, and that his benefit from it is purely incidental. 27023, Councillor Fleming, on behalf of Ward 5 residents, to relocate the election polling site either back to Sima Park or any other suitable location. The sentiment of the committee on that was generally in favor, but we voted to hold because we felt it requires considerably more research and information before we make any final decision on it. And 27123, Liz Murphy, Executive Director, Community Development and Planning Board to designate members of the planning board as special municipal employees under 268A Section 1 sub N. This was previously filed as 218-23. This is a duplicative filing, and it was approved unanimously.
Motion to accept the report?
Can I ask for that motion to exclude 260, I'm sorry,
16123.
16123. Thank you. That's what I thought it
Motion
was.
to accept the report excluding 16123.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Any objections? Seeing none, it is accepted unanimously. 16123 is before us, and I understand Councillor Brochman wished to speak on this item.
I understand what you say, Mr. President, but I kind of disagree. On this petition, I put this petition in for a reason, on this, because it happened to me. I mean, and it probably, and I know it has happened to other people that own property. I noticed that the guy was in front of my house to install a satellite dish. I stopped. I informed the guy that was putting in the satellite dish not to put it in. He did not have permission, and I left. I came back that night, and lo and behold, the satellite dish is there. So I believe, and I believe it affects a lot of people, that landlords, the same thing happened. The tenant thinks they own the property. They call up satellite dish and they ask them to put it on. They come down and they plank it on there, and by the time they find out about it, it's too late. Some tenants ask you. I'm not saying all, but some do not ask, and they just take it upon themselves to do it. And numerous times as I drove around the city where a residence has moved, lo and behold, the satellite dish is still on the building, and the property owner is responsible to take them off after, not the company. All the company does is shut off with a switch. And I don't think it's right. I honestly don't believe it's right that that should happen. And that's why I put this petition in. I think you're wrong when you say that. You say applicable by law. I never even knew about that law, and I don't think a lot of tenants, landlords know about the law.
So, Councillor, I understand where you're coming from, but that is largely a civil matter between either you and your tenants or you and the satellite dish company. There is already law on the books that would cover that. And I don't think, given the burdens that our code enforcement in the city are already under, with only, I believe, 2 inspectors and the department head, I don't think that adding an additional thing for them to get into fights with companies about is necessarily the best idea. Councillor Squalia.
Thank you. I appreciate the intention of this, but I agree with President Zarella that I think this is already covered in the law, and it's better facilitated through a landlord-tenant agreement and potential security, from your security deposit if they choose to not remove the satellite dish from the exterior or add a satellite dish. Maybe it's not allowed at all. Maybe it is allowed, but the tenant must pay, a security deposit if they remove it. I don't know. Thank you.
Councillor Krucher.
Thank you. I appreciate Councillor Boschman's willingness to put this forward, but as a former satellite subscriber, when I put the satellite on the property where I was living, of course this was almost 2 decades ago, I was required to have a written letter from the landowner or the property owner giving me express permission to put it up. And, it was actually taken down when I left that property. So it is in there, and it is a requirement that, unless it was a private party that was putting it up, if it's the actual company, they do require a letter of consent from the property owner.
Make it clear they never ask it.
Councillor.
All right.
Councillor Van Hazinga.
Yeah, I just echo that. I appreciate the sentiment, but this is really a landlord-tenant issue. The city really doesn't have any way to enforce this. As proposed, the petition has no enforcement mechanism. The only way to do that would be have a permitting process for every satellite dish that gets put in the city, and I think this is impractical and beyond what the city has capacity for. So I think this is something that property owners and tenants have to deal with through their lease agreements, and it's not something that we can really enforce through city code.
Do I have a motion on 16123?
Move to give 16123 leave to withdraw.
Second?
I have a motion and second to give 16123 leave to withdraw. All in favor? Aye. In opposition? Councilor Brochman in opposition. Passes 9-1.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
Oh, yes, that does conclude our business for this evening.
Second.
I have a motion and second to adjourn. Seeing no objection, we are adjourned.